Are y'all ready to get this started? 3, 2, 1. Hey, I know what time it is.
You know what it is.
You are now tuning into the best business radio program in Central VA.
Turn it up.
On the Mic with Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Mic with Mike. It is the premier business radio program around. I'm your host, Mike King. Appreciate you being here with us today. This is the Restaurant Report. We are doing this in conjunction with, what's your name? Oh, we're doing this in conjunction with Virginia Restaurant, Tourism, Lodging, and Tourism. Yes, that's all of that. Eric Terry couldn't be here today. We'd like to thank him. He is going to give us an opening. He's going to send it in. So thank you for coming out today. What we've done is we've assembled the best and brightest. That's what we do here on the Mic with Mike. We have a panel. We have two groups that are going to operate. So I'm going to introduce the panel. I think it'd be easier if you just introduced yourselves. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up the questions, and we're going to operate this as sort of a think tank, best practices, whatever. We're going to try and take it to a place that everyone can get a value out of it. We're going to start with Emmy from Hospitality.
So my name is Emmy Finch, and I'm from Hospitality Family here in Central Virginia, and we own and operate all of the boathouses, Casa del Barco, and Island Shrimp Co. We have 8 locations in and around Richmond.
All right, really quickly, I'm sorry, got housekeeping here. I'd like to welcome you to Mama Michelle's Cafe. So Mama Michelle's, this is not Mama Michelle's Cafe. This is Michelle Wilson's conference room. That's Chef Michelle's conference room. Here, Mama Michelle's Cafe, the best on the South Side. Okay, that's it. I'm biased probably. But welcome, Chef.
Thank you. All right. All right, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm Chef Michelle. I own Mama Michelle's Cafe right down the road here, and or right down the walkway here. And I've been in this area for 8 years. I've had that brick and mortar for 6 years. And we cater to our community. We cater to the arts, for those who don't know. And I'm really excited to be a part of this project. I'm always glad to see you, Dr. Danny. And to be a part of this panel, and to see if we can shake a tree and see what falls out, right? Okay. Right? And see if we can get each other motivated to keep our businesses going and running in this tough time. I don't think a lot of people, consumers, are aware that we are sandwiched between the pandemic and the fallout from the pandemic. And so I'm a little tired because we're running a thin staff. Thin, skinny. Everybody on the diet now. It's only 2 or 3 of us, and so we're striving to get back up on our feet. And I know that a lot of us are going through the same thing. And I think it's best if we're all together and give each other a little encouragement and some facts and the truth about what we're really going through. So that's it. Is that good?
That's good. That's
All
good.
right.
Alrighty. So one of the things I want to say, who we have with us today, we have restaurateurs, single location restaurateurs. We have ones who have food trucks. We have Carl Knobloch from SBA is here with us. We have industry experts. And the idea of it is so that you can get something, we can pass it on to everyone else. Next, we have our friends from Brunswick County are here with us. Oh, you're up.
Good morning. My name is Alfreda Jarrett Reynolds, and I serve as the Director of Economic Development for Brunswick County. We are the location of choice, and we're excited to be here to share some best practices and hope that we can bring some of these businesses to the County of Brunswick. So good morning, and thank you.
Awesome. Good morning.
Can you pull the mic to?
Good morning. My name is Jamiquan Red, and I am co-owner of Brunswick Ag and Culture. We are a 50-acre running agricultural tourism farm in Brunswick County, and we are very pleased to be here to meet you all, and we hope to see you soon to camp or to pet a goat.
Hi, I'm Robin Carter with Carolina Girl Catering. I work out of Hatch Kitchen, RBA on the south side.
Hello, I'm Dan Schroeder. I'm a business broker and strategy consultant with Filament Business Advisors. I come from the restaurant industry and have been doing restaurant consulting and food development for multinationals and small mom and pops for 20 years.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tamara Wilkins Harris. I work for Richmond Region Tourism, and so happy to be with you all today. I'm in the Community Relations Department, and I am a proud teacher of our I Am Tourism Ambassador Program, but also work very closely with Eric Terry and the VRLTA team. And with best practices, I'm here to really kind of give an opportunity to share what visitors are looking forward to experience in our destination, as well as to hear from all of you in terms of what we can do to assist.
So I guess it's on me.
Yes,
I don't
Chef.
necessarily need that.
I know you don't.
My name is Chef Ty. I am Enigma. I am the owner of Hook's Lunchbox that we do with my husband. We are part owners of Gourmet Hemp Foods. We have a hot sauce and barbecue sauce. I also have my own TV show featured on one of the first all-black cooking networks. I am in the process of my first book. And I am a wife and mother of 3 adults, and I happen to be a veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Carl Knobloch from the Small Business Administration. As they said, over a year ago, we were the best kept secret. Now everybody knows about us. And we definitely have been overwhelmed by all the needs, and we're trying to do the best job we can to meet those needs.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Cooper. I'm the CEO of Retro Hospitality based here in Richmond, Virginia. Been in the hospitality business for just about 30 years. We have 8 properties that we work with throughout the Commonwealth, including Cork Hotel here in Richmond, as well as a new project we're excited to start speaking about, which is a partnership with Virginia Union University and helping them launch their new hospitality program. I'm a board member for the Virginia Restaurant, Lodging, and Travel Association, and a huge advocate for restaurant and hospitality employees throughout the Commonwealth.
Thank you one and all for coming. All right, Dan, we're gonna kick this off with you. When you were in the program, you said a person who owns a restaurant, they ain't doing it for the money. They are not doing it for the money, they're doing it for the passion. The floor is yours, sir. You can kick it off. Why do people do it?
Well, they're insane. So the one little restaurant, the 50 seats, mom and pop, 24-hour-a-day job is what we call a jewel box, and it has a very low chance of success. I would say the model was probably broken before COVID came along, and COVID shined a light on that, in that they're operating frequently like it's 1957. And what owners need to do now is learn how to scale and change their business practices so they're able to survive with rising costs of goods, rising labor costs, shrinking labor pool, and all the things, and then more people who are inexplicably drawn to going into restaurants. So one of the things that we find with selling restaurants is that even though the numbers don't make sense, people still want to buy them because they think it sounds fun. And this is a problem for people who are in it to actually make money and support their families, but nonetheless, it's been true for 30 years. And so I think that people need to have a plan, a strategic plan for how they can scale and how they can actually make money in this business and be able to support their families moving forward. They need to develop a business, in other words.
Carl Knobloch, it's on you, man. We were sitting at the program and you said back in April, restaurant industry was going to come back and people were going to buy restaurants, and we said week after week, people were continuing to buy restaurants and open them. What's the word from SBA on what's happening with the industry?
With the industry, just speaking from the local level, we are continuously, I would say, on average, we get 5 calls a day for restaurants. People wanting to start a restaurant. As was brought up, a lot of them are not thought out strategically. They just feel that it's an opportunity because they cook good. And unfortunately, as we always say, that doesn't necessarily make it work. We call the industry the 90-day wonders. And we call that industry like that because we know everybody always likes to go try the new restaurant. The thing is, do they come back? And that's why we call them the 90-day wonders, because they will have record profits the first 45 days, and then it decreases after that, and 6 months to close the doors. So that's why lenders don't like to finance that industry. So that's where it stands. We have been in the midst of it with every type of disaster plan you can think of, from economic injury disaster loans start out with, and which is still available, payroll protection program, to the, right now, the restaurant revitalization, which is basically run out of money, and hopefully Congress will approve more money for that. Also, money's been allocated to the states, which hopefully in July 1 gets released out to the different areas, not only from the state level, the county level, and city level. So there's funds moving every which way. A lot of investments going into looking how to get the workforce back into the RIM, looking at different programs. The IRS has excellent tax break programs out right now, trying to help related to the pandemic. So a lot of different machines moving, trying to help this industry come back on its feet, and tourism.
Speaking of tourism,
Yes.
Tamara, you're here.
Yes.
Let's talk about tourism, Richmond, because before the pandemic happened, Richmond was the place that was on fire. Everyone said you had to come here for the food. The restaurants were on and popping. What's happening, ma'am?
We're still hot, I have to tell you. During the pandemic, we've had travel writers still looking at our destination. We've had all of you that are still kept and maintained your businesses being open while we had a major increase in sports tourism in our destination. I don't know how many of you are familiar with what Richmond Region Tourism does, but our job is to bring visitors to this destination so they can have an exceptional customer service experience. And a lot of that starts with all of you guys in the room. And so I was talking about those travel writers coming in. Those are the people that come in, write about us, eat in your restaurants, and say how fabulous they are. We've been on the New York Times, we've been in Southern Living. So those things are still happening, and they were happening during the pandemic, which is really, really great news. But we also know that we have to be able to bring visitors to your doors, and our meetings and plannings and convention services teams are still doing that. Bookings are increased. We see that's happening, though, coming later 2022 as far as the big, larger conferences coming, but sports tourism is still very much active in our destination. And I hope many of you have seen those people walking the streets downtown with their hockey sticks or their outfits on, and that gives you, because you don't know what a visitor is. You don't know who's traveling from Virginia Beach here, but when you see people in sports outfits, you know that that is a person coming and experiencing our destination as far as all the sporting feels and things that we have as assets. The last thing I will say, blackrva.com has done exceptionally well during the pandemic as well. We've had travel writers coming in to talk about the destination, what has happened here at kind of what we think is like our ground zero, and we're very proud of what the destination has done moving forward.
One of the things that we're also here, we're going to show some of our friends down in Brunswick some love too, because
Yes.
you're in the business as well of getting people to come to Brunswick County.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, the floor is yours. Let's give the kudos to Brunswick.
So Brunswick County is the original home of Brunswick Stew, and I know all of you had a taste of Brunswick Stew, but we are the original home, and so those are some of the things that we market to bring tourism in. The second Saturday in October is the Taste of Brunswick, and that is a huge festival where we have 12 of the best stew masters to come in, and we're expecting about 10,000 people. So you can imagine 10,000 people emerging upon our one stoplight. Go to the stoplight, go right, turn around, go backwards, whatever, because it's one stoplight. So we are a very small rural community, but we're rich with love and opportunity. We're known for our tourism. We have Lake Gaston, so it brings a lot of people into the lake. Everyone loves the outdoors. And we're known for our forestry, but we are the original home of Brunswick Stew, and so we're expecting people to come in. We have a jazz festival coming up. Labor Day weekend, we have Plunking Oneness from Richmond, and so we have great opportunities. So we're really trying to bring people to Lawrenceville. It is the location of choice. And so when you're looking for a small rural community, we are the location of choice. So we're looking for, yes. So when you're looking for a small rural community to come, to shop, to do business, to live, to farm, we're that place. And so we're big on food trucks. We opened 8 businesses in the midst of the pandemic, 2 restaurants. So we're just excited about some of the great things that's happening in Brunswick County.
Alrighty, everyone is out there and they're talking about the lack of workforce. You know what? We got an expert in the house. We got the HR lady from hospitality. We've had the conversation. How bad is it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
When the HR lady says it's pretty bad,
It's pretty bad.
it is bad.
Yeah, so we had to, I like that word strategic, so we had to get strategic. And we had to compete, obviously, with federal and state funds that were being handed out. So, yeah, so we decided to go ahead and throw the gauntlet down, and we knew that minimum wage was going to spike at some point, and that's going to be probably fast-tracked. So we decided that we're going to pay everybody a really healthy, livable, sustainable wage.
Awesome. Very
What?
nice. Very
Oh,
nice.
that's
Very nice.
yeah, like, right?
Amazing.
So nobody makes $2.13 an hour anymore.
Nice. Nice.
Yay.
Everybody who works for us at least starts at 12, and by the end of the year,
Nice.
we want everyone to start at 15.
Very nice.
So our servers make anywhere from $20 to $25 an hour, plus
Nice.
are part of a tip
Nice.
pool. And we've been able to do that because we were strategic enough to figure out how to not need as many employees.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we invested in a lot of technical tools. Toast has been a huge asset to us. That's a point of sale system that we use in restaurants. And we have used, of course, QR codes and that kind of thing. And we've restructured our restaurant. We've restructured every role in our restaurant.
Dan?
So we have a restaurant consulting client who was opening a third restaurant and couldn't get talent from top to bottom. And we told them the same thing, just pay more and, pick up health insurance and that kind of stuff, which ultimately was a marginal increase in costs. But we discussed that part of the strategy is, other than everything you just mentioned, is reworking the menu so that you can pay for everything without just passing the cost on to the consumer. So to some extent, you raise prices. It's inflationary, everyone gets it. But to some extent, you have to figure out how to sell more profitable items that don't seem like you're cutting, but seems like you're giving more. And so you have to really rework the menu in a way that looks like you're offering more for more, not less.
Gotcha. Chef Robin Carter, what's the world look like to you where you are out there?
So I moved actually to this area right before the pandemic hit. So I started my business during the pandemic. Wasn't the best idea, but it was the best. But it was the best idea. Thank you.
You're still standing.
Yeah, but it was the best because nobody came to see me on the very first day, but I found Hatch Kitchen RVA on the south side, which was like one of the best decisions I ever made because there I meet like-minded people. So I'm surrounded by my peers, so like I'm able to network, and from there I was able to find my place in this community to be able to now start a following. So now I have been doing pop-ups around town since the restrictions have lifted and since people are back out and about, and the community has accepted me, and I'm very appreciative of that. So
Chef Ty, there's been an evolution of your brand. Let's talk about where you started, and you were one of the first people down at Hatch as well. Let's talk about your brand.
We were the second or third company to come into Hatch. And we came into Hatch doing a hot sauce and a barbecue sauce using hemp products. So it was already a touchy situation because of where the laws were when it came to hemp. And when you say, oh, I have a hemp barbecue sauce, oh, am I going to get high? No, doofus, you're not going to get high. It's hemp seeds. It's the benefits of your endocannabinoid system actually being recharged. I am also a certified cannabis chef through the ACF. I take what I do and I take it to heart because before I became a chef, I was a nurse. So everything I do with the end goal in mind, which is our body, which is how we process our foods. So we, like you, started in the middle of a pandemic. I've been in and around Richmond for about 12 years. I've worked with Michelle. Me and Michelle went to school together. Because I suffer with PTSD as bad as I do, buildings are not for me. So I knew enough that I wasn't going to be inside of a restaurant. But I have all of the talent to be inside of a restaurant. We got a food truck. In the middle of a damn pandemic, we got a food truck. Okay, 30 grand. In the middle of a pandemic. And our food truck has been in operation 36 days. And when I tell you, and this is not to be overly religious, but every day if I go live, I say I prayed for this. I ask God for this. So I will not complain about the workload that I have.
That's good.
From June 1st until the first Wednesday it rained, we had not one day off, okay? Not one. We have serviced all of the things that other food trucks look at and say, I'm not gonna make any money. Fine, I'll come back and I'll get that money. I thank you very much for leaving them on the table. I specialize in international comfort. Because what happens is when you look at me, you see me and you're like, oh, macaroni and cheese and collard greens. Now, that's not my lane, bro. I'm going to leave that to someone else. Can I do it? With the best of them. Will I do it? I don't want to. It's already been done. What Richmond Black Restaurant Experience has done for Richmond, it has highlighted over 40 restaurants, caterers, food trucks, just people who love what they do. And it has also shown how many soul food restaurants we had. I don't need to be in the mix. I need a lane that's my own for me to be able to drive down with no traffic. So I brought my love of traveling and my way of dealing with spices to my food. And because of it, during the pandemic, we have been able to thrive. We have that return business that people are like, where are you?
Yep.
We have a following now, and I didn't think it was going to happen. But my husband would say, all we got to do is get in the game. He's a coach, and he has coached me for years. It's unfortunate that it took me all this time to get there, right? But I'm here now. I'm at the table.
All right.
So with that being the case for us, if we show up, we're there already. We've already beat everyone who's still talking themselves up to this point. So with this industry, being that you're going to raise prices or like raise wage, it's amazing. For anyone out there that's listening, some of you have not worked in the backside of it. The restaurant industry is the worst industry for a female in general, period, because we are looked down at by each other. We are looked down at by men. When the Me Too movement came through, you would have thought that every restaurant would have closed, but it didn't. We are underpaid for our talent. We are told that the only way you're going to do anything is to be on someone else's television platform, okay? But if you watch Ray, he told you that you needed to own your own masters.
That's true.
So if that's the case, then you need to own your brand. You need to own who you are and what you bring to the table, and that's where Chef Ty came out of, because I didn't own it. I didn't own what it was that I brought to the table. I always shrunk under someone else because I felt like, oh, well, they're already doing it. And then I realized I'm doing it too.
That's true. All right, so, Paul, you operate from Charlottesville to Richmond with the hospitality group that you have here. Let's talk about operating and some of the struggles you see and some of the tidbits of wisdom that you could give some folks, because the level that, so give folks an idea of your view of the landscape of the restaurant industry now.
Yeah, so, you know, when COVID came upon us in March, we had just opened a hotel in Charlottesville, the Quirk Hotel, on March 5th, and had to scramble pretty quickly, like all of us on the stable have had to do, and made the early decision to suspend operations of a brand-new hotel on March 20th, and lay off all the staff that had helped open this hotel with us, and the community as well, so, and shut the doors. So very, very painful type of experience on a personal level of having to look at staff, and a lot of our hotels have a very, very vibrant food and beverage component to them. So culinary is a big part of the success of the majority of our properties. And so when tourism dropped the way it did, I think there was an article in the Times-Dispatch this morning, you know, tourism is a $27 billion industry. And in the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia, we employ somewhere around 10% of the total workforce. We were impacted. 45% of the total job losses came from the hospitality industry. So a huge, huge hit. And And so, you know, we look at it from what can we do going forward? We navigated, we think, some very, very choppy waters, restaurants, bars, event spaces, hotels. And now on the you know, flip side of this, as we come out of COVID, how do we build our teams back up? How do we effectively recruit the next wave of talent? And our approach in hospitality, we get extremely immersed in the locations that we have properties within. So to Tamara's point earlier, you know, looking at the destination and making sure all those folks who are coming to town from different areas are enjoying themselves, are out in restaurants and shopping and experiencing Richmond and Brunswick and other areas around the Commonwealth. And we want to be a part of that. We want to be the hub for those folks to stay in our hotels and certainly enjoy meals in our hotels. But that's only a very, very small part of their experience. If they're going to come back, we need to have strategic partnerships with the community, with some very, very talented chefs and restaurants, and we need to get those folks out there. But right now, it's about how do we bring employees back into projects where we're extremely experiential. It's a different experience. It's not a vanilla box, Comfort Inn, Holiday Inn Express. No disrespect to those brands, but it's a very, very experiential you know, visit that these folks have. And so it's very, very labor intensive. We spend a lot of time looking to, with small staffs, recruiting the best of the best. We work a lot with VRLTA on workforce development initiatives. We've been a huge proponent of the Pro Start campaign, in which high school students around the country compete in almost a Chopped or you know, kind of that whole program, to show not only how they cook and can present, but soft skills, being able to speak in front of large groups of people, how to present and build a menu, how to understand financial costs and food costs and labor costs, and you know, and then everything through executing and delivering on their concept, their restaurant concept. So it gives them a good opportunity to think through methodically how to build a restaurant, if that's what they decide to go through and do. We spend a lot of time with community colleges, J. Sargent Reynolds, 4-year degrees like JMU, Hospitality and Tourism Management Program, with Virginia Tech's Tourism Management Program. We do a tremendous outreach for internships to try and bring the best of the best to our projects. And now recently, as I mentioned earlier, we're super excited about working with Virginia Union University. They just launched a undergraduate Bachelor of Science program in Hospitality and Tourism Management. And they also launched a Masters of Science program as well for those folks who look to move forward. And then we're working with and collaborating with a lot of different hotels, and we will start reaching out to many of you with restaurants to have those students who are going through that program directly deliver them to your doorstep as employees. And it's not just for us, it's for Richmond in general.
All right, the program is On the Mic with Mike. ESPN Richmond 106.1 is where you find us, 5 to 7 a.m. One of the great parts about having your own radio program is you can talk to the folks you want to. So what I say for last right now, TV, radio, you know, all of you guys are in the restaurant industry. The food comes from somewhere. So I had to bring somebody here who deals with the food. Brunswick Ag and Culture, you can hear them on the Choice 105.3. They're radio personalities, good friends of the program. Agritourism, so just to give a background, so Jamie Kwan, she's also a doula, besides being a social worker from California. Oh, Dan's from California too. You guys are both from the Bay.
We know each other.
No, you guys are related. That's the way things work. So, but I wanted to bring her here to talk about the farming side of it. They say they got everything but the cows.
Everything but a cow.
And every time we do a Zoom, I always have her show what's going on the farm. So let's talk a little about your experience, how you play into this, and what you guys are saying, because you're trying to drive agritourism down into your area.
Absolutely. So again, we are Brunswick Ag and Culture, and it's ag in culture, specifically for we're talking about agriculture and culture, right? So for us, we are first generational farmers. I am from Northern California. My husband is from Virginia. He is a Marine vet, and I am a clinical social worker. So
That's obvious you guys go together.
right, obviously, right, just totally. One thing we do is have a love for food. For me, it has been a lifelong journey with food. I am a woman, and most of us have a love-hate relationship with our bodies and with food. And I had health issues. I've had quite a few family members recently pass because of long-term health issues, and I healed myself with food. And I have to explain to people that that is serious. So for me, I made it really simple for myself. Eat it as close to the ground as I could get it, as close to whatever it was, because that became education, right? And so what I learned through my journey is we didn't have enough education around food in our community. We ate what was available, and we ate what was accessible. But as I got a little bit, higher in life and got a little degree and, got a little money and traveled a little bit, my father was in the military, you have a little bit more access and you see the world differently. And you realize that the food is accessible to those that have access. And those of us that do not become inaccessible. And then the things that debilitate us are things that are preventable. And so at one point I was a type 2 diabetic. I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And my doctor looked at me and said, "You will be dead in 10 years if you don't change." And I thought, oh, wait a minute, I'm kind of cute. And I got a couple more things I want to do. And I changed, and the medication changed. And I thought, food is the key. But when I go into my neighborhood, what do I see? I see a sign for alcohol, and that's fine, and cigarettes everywhere, and that's fine. But I don't see the same for fresh fruit and vegetables. So as you go into nicer neighborhoods, I had the ability to work in San Francisco, and you have farmers markets, and you have access to beautiful things I had never heard of or I could pronounce or I could see. And I thought to myself, what would it mean to make that accessible for more people? So long story short, met a man, moved to Virginia, and he said to me, "I own 36 acres. What do you own and what will you do?" And I said, "Well, I'll buy that little land over there." And we did. And then within a year, we created with other partners, so we did not do this alone. With other partners, we created a food box, and we gave away 50 a year ago today. We created Brunswick Agriculture a year ago today because we live in Brunswick County. And if I'm not mistaken, 82% of Brunswick County is African American. Yet, if I'm not mistaken, we're the 4th highest in cancer and the 4th lowest school district. So when you work with that, again, I'm a clinical social worker. I cannot deal with problems in the sense that we have no solution. So for us, we said, this is a problem. There is a solution, so what is it? And so we created Brunswick Agriculture, and our motto is do it, move it. I'm not going to sit and talk to you about the problem because we understand what it is, so that is our starting point and meeting point. From there, our goal is to always create manageable outcomes, measurable outcomes, right? We are not asking for change overnight, but what we are telling you is it is possible, and we will meet you where you are and then move you forward. And if we can't, we will leave you alone and continue. And so what we did was created food accessibility. And over the last year, we have connected chefs from Virginia all over. So Virginia Beach, Hampton area, all the way down to Brunswick County. And we have not said we don't have a food truck. We've put 60,000 miles on our truck to deliver food. When we had an issue with one of our crops, 6,000 plants in the ground. Long story short, we can't access those anymore. That's fine. There are other small farmers all over the community, and we are out every day meeting them, connecting with them, and buying their crops. So again, it doesn't matter what the problem is. We have a solution. And if we reach out, and we've done this with Mike, and Mike has reciprocated, and now we sit in this room. So I say to you and you all, a year ago, we sat in a cabin that was 700 square feet with no running water and no electricity. Not because we couldn't afford more or do more, because we put everything we had into what we believed in. And because of that, we created a space at this table. And it is powerful. It is immensely powerful to understand what we create with each other and together. And so we have touched and agreed, my husband and I, that we would be here at every opportunity to say, how can we help you? How can we create a solution? How can we do it moving? Whatever obstacle may have been there before, whatever conversation you had before, it doesn't matter. We have a manageable outcome for you and a measurable outcome for you, and we will meet you there. So what we have is 50 acres for you to access. That means you can walk, you can run, you can bring your bike, you can pet a goat, a chicken, a turkey, a duck, a rabbit, but not a cow.
Not a cow.
But not a cow. You can come in and talk to someone about your PTSD. I can teach you how to make a small garden or a large garden. I can
Because
teach you
you've gardened from 700 in an apartment.
700 square feet, and we're talking about in a pot. I can teach you about aquaponics to hay bale garden. So yesterday, not to brag, we were featured in a international news, and I won't say who, but from Amsterdam, longest running publication there, and he came out and he says, one of our problems in our country is that we don't have space. My husband runs a farm management company, so we have little places all over our land that show you different ways that you can farm. And one of those is a straw Hell Bay farm. Never seen that. And he's like, oh my goodness. So we're having a conversation, and that's what we do. We're showing you all these ways that you can say yes. So each and every one of you contact us.
There you go.
We're Googleable, right? And we will
You
make
guys
a
are.
program.
You
We
guys are Googleable now.
Because we wanted Brunswick to be on the table, right?
You put Brunswick on the map.
I did, well, no.
Well, okay, fine.
Well, we there, though.
You're there, okay.
And we want you to know that we're there. So each and every one of you, if you have something, we will create it with you. We will make it happen. And our answer is yes. So thank you for being here, and I appreciate your time and listening
That's why I
to
rock
us.
with her. But besides that, so her husband's going to talk about the side of the food deserts and all that when he
Correct.
comes up. Okay, really quickly, I want you guys to talk to in your whatever your industry is to give a person some advice that they could take. So whatever that may be, maybe it was you a year ago, something that people could take away. And Emmy, we'll start with you.
Well, I think that you have to be open to say yes, and you have to be open to say, okay, what we were doing pre-COVID is antiquated, and it's not going to propel us forward, so we have to figure out a way to think outside the box, and that would be my advice, is that what we were doing, honestly, wasn't making everybody a lot of money. And we weren't getting a lot of lifers and a lot of people having a career in our industry. And so think outside the box and say yes.
One of the things I want to touch on with you guys too is about culture. You know, I always talk about your corporate culture and what it means, because that's something interesting that we had that conversation about.
Yeah, so I was having a conversation with Dr. Danny a little bit ago about how our greatest resource are our people. And so our culture is that we grow our own, that's what we call it. And so I started as a server 14 years ago, and our owner afforded me my education in HR, and he's done that with several of us on his leadership team. And you know, he sees talent and he says, hey, I'd like to grow you. You know, I'd like to see where we can end up together. And so that's the culture. You know, we don't want a whole bunch of new hires. Right? We grow from within. A lot of our chefs started as dishwashers, started as bussers, and we've moved them up and we've afforded them the education so that they can be successful. And that's culture. That builds. You got to have roots. So that's culture.
Freedom.
Again, thanks for the opportunity to come and share. So Brunswick County, as I first stated, is the location of choice. And so what we have learned during the pandemic was to work while everyone else was using COVID as their excuse. And so we worked really hard because we are rural and we are a bit primitive in some of our ways, but we are progressive. So it's hard to be primitive and progressive because you have to introduce change on a new level. And so we have to change the mindset of our community and get them to understand who and what we bring to the table and to be proud of it. Internal marketing was key, and so I wanted to bring about a pride in our community and the great things that we have. You know, you can't be an option if people don't know you exist. And so we had to market in a different way. We zoomed and we zoomed and we zoomed, but we put that mask on and we had to have that face-to-face interaction with people as well to let them know that we are here and that we are open for business and we're ready to grow with you. And so that's one of the things we did. So we managed to open several businesses in the midst of the pandemic that are still open and surviving. They're not the 90-day one and go, because we're going to do all that we can to make sure that they are successful and that we give them the tools and the strategies that they need. I once was a business owner. I had my own restaurant, and it failed. But it was the biggest life lesson that I learned. I'm an alumnus of St. Paul's College, and so I opened Tiger Express because I wanted a place for our college students to go, but when the college closed, so did my restaurant. And so I understand those practices, and so I take those life lessons into this new position to ensure that our businesses stay open.
One of the things that we talked about was people can get to Brunswick. They just have to find out about it.
To find it. It's so easy. It's so easy. We are a major.
Okay, I'm getting ready for, go ahead.
We have
There you
major
go.
thoroughfares that run through us. We're just trying to find reasons for people to stop in. Yeah. You come by, but we want you to stop in and stay and live and grow. Just stop and stay. Yes. And so this is my new BFF. And so we have Highway 58 that runs through. We have Highway 46. We are 20 miles from Interstate 95, and Interstate 85 runs through Brunswick. So we're there, we're accessible. We're nowhere, but we're an hour from everywhere. So if you want the country living, if you want the one-stop light and leave your door open, come to Brunswick. We are the place that you can grow and that you can be a part of the positive changes that's going on, even in the midst of a pandemic. We're not using it as our excuse. We prosper during a pandemic.
There you
That's
go.
what we do in Brunswick.
Jamie?
I was just overwhelmed what she was talking about. I didn't know what I'm supposed to say.
Jamie, talk about your event that's coming up.
Okay. So again, I am new to Brunswick County, and so again, we're rural, and instead of saying there was nothing there, we created a health and wellness expo. So Brunswick County is featured there. Brunswick Agriculture is saying that we need 18 vendors and 4 food trucks, because we want the community, thank you.
Well,
I'm gonna
that's
talk
the
to you
way things
later.
work, okay.
But we want the community to access Brunswick, because like she said, we're nowhere but an hour from everywhere. And so that's our appeal. We are always talking about taking pictures about the diversity of our land. So if you want to come out and see a farm, you can see that. Take a walk down a little bit and you're in forest. Take a little bit more and we have a pond. Take a little bit more and we have a creek. And you've never left our property. If you want to come for a day and have a day trip, meditation, walking, a parent group, riding a horse, we're working on that. But if you have horses, bring them on down and you can trailer them and ride with them, right? We have an ability to walk, run, take your bike, four-wheeler, you name it, we've cleared roads. And let's be clear, we have prospered because of the SBA. I've been a small business myself as a clinical social worker for 15 years, and when the pandemic happened, I got a little money, and I took my little money from the SBA and I poured it into my business. So what we did was clear roads, and we made it accessible. Instead of saying what we could not do, we created a way for you to come. If you want to hold a chicken or a goat or a rabbit, while we have no cows, they're dangerous and they cost too much. But we found everything else that would appeal to every person. Disability, my husband has PTSD, right? So we're talking about these conversations. So what we also do is every Sunday, we invite you into our home for a mastermind. And we tell you, I will feed you, and you bring yourself and you bring your ideas, because again, we are an hour from everywhere. And instead of us saying in Brunswick we don't have those things, because it is very rural, so it's kind of who you know, and if I don't know you, I'm not talking to you. So instead of saying that's a problem, what I've said is come on over, eat my food, sit down with me, talk with me, and then we've invited chefs in, and we've invited other businesses and other community leaders, and what we have found a month later is that it is working. And so I say to all of you, if you can't make it on July 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, any Sunday after 1 o'clock, because I'm a little tired, you can come into our home, and we will feed you, and you will meet other prospering businesses, because we're here to succeed, all of us. So thank you again.
Chef Robin Carter.
I have been a chef for over 20 years, and food is love to me. And so that's a big part of why I'm so appreciative of my community accepting me. And therefore, to show my appreciation, I use local food. That's one thing I didn't talk about earlier. So I do utilize all the local farms that are around me as far as every product that I use, as far as vegetables and meat. So I do pop up around town, so catch me around town and let me feed you, because it's my passion. And if I can say that's one thing that I will say to anybody, that's my best advice, is to do what you're passionate about, because then it doesn't seem like work at all. It's just you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in this world and giving back, you know?
Your vegan stuff is legendary. And
So-
so it has healing powers. Talk about, we would have your sister in here as the chief cheerleader.
Yes.
But let's talk about that from a health standpoint.
So, my sister was, make a long story short, my sister was diagnosed with congestive heart failure a few years ago, and she's very young, so no one knows why it happened. So she completely took, she changed everything about her life, and she became vegan. So I'm low country cuisine. That's my, you know, that's my thing. And so what I do is take meals that I already know how to make, and I in turn have now made them a version for her. So she is Gina's Love. She also does natural skincare as well. And so like it does. Food, like you were saying, food is healing. And through that, she has no, she can't cure her heart. She has a bad heart, but she has made everything else in her body better to be able to support, be better for her heart. So yeah, food is very healing, and through it, I think everyone can feel better, and that's why I love to feed people. So.
All right, that's good. All right, Dan, what words of wisdom do you have for folks out there?
I find that restaurateurs in particular live in their own bubbles, and they think their problems are theirs. They can't share because it sounds like weakness. They don't want to give away that things are not going perfectly. In fact, to their customers or their vendors, everything's great, everything's new, everything's fabulous. To their spouse, everything's horrible. They can't make payroll. You know, so-and-so quit, and the health inspector showed up at noon, you know, when the fridge was out. So I think, and I have found that owners need to talk to people who know more than they do, or who are going through the same things that they are going to, and they need to share and work on solutions together. Because even if you're competitors, you're not going to learn by sitting in your own restaurant in your own bubble and talking to the same people. You need to get out of that, and you need to talk to people who know more than you, so you can figure out a way forward.
Okay.
Or a way out, or a way to change what you're doing. Because obviously, if it's not working, then you need to change something.
Cool. Tamara, give us some words of wisdom from the tourism side. What's new and exciting for you guys?
So before the pandemic, we had 7 million visitors coming to this destination, spending $2.6 billion. Right, so there's a lot of, and again, it's a lot of you in the room that help us with the economic impact that we receive in the Richmond region. I say that to say is that during the pandemic, our team was still working hard, because we know that visitors want to understand how they can travel safe, and what our restaurants, what our businesses are doing. Also, regardless, I know we're saying post-pandemic, but we're really not post-pandemic. People still are concerned about their safety and where they're going and where they're going to stay and their lodging. And so we know in this destination that we have some exceptional restaurants, hotels, businesses. And so my job in community relations, for the first time in 10 years, we really are looking at our community to educate them and engage them about what is here in their own backyard. Hopefully this also will inspire them to begin receiving visitors back to our destination. So we have our Travel Safe RVA website that our team is still working on and updating, and we're hoping that our businesses are going. We have a free website listing for restaurants and visitor-facing businesses, so we're also encouraging and engaging our community to work with us and to understand why tourism it really helps the fabric of life and quality of life. I'm sure everybody in this room knows somebody that has worked in a kitchen or worked at a hotel, has worked with visitors, and so tourism is about the quality of life here. I'm sorry, I can't think of your name right now, but Virginia State University also has a hospitality management program that we work very closely with. Yes, VSU, we love them. We at Richmond Tourism we're giving back because it is important for us to educate our youth also about why tourism is an industry that you can learn, you can grow, you can travel the world, you can cook, you can feed, whether it's by food or whether it's by knowledge. And so I would say for me, not just representing Richmond Region Tourism, but I think that is a powerful thing. We need to continue to look at our young people. I probably sound like I'm in church and I want to say youth, but that is so important and key. But as far as Richmond Region Tourism is concerned as a whole, our job is to bring in visitors, and we need and want to work with everyone in this room so that you can level up your businesses if you need that. BlackRVA.com gave $4,000 of scholarships to Black-owned businesses over the pandemic. So we're about giving back, and Richmond Region Tourism Foundation is our nonprofit arm to our agency, and that's how we're giving back to our community.
Cool, appreciate it. Thank you. Chef Todd, there's a young person out there who is where you trying to get to where you are now. What's advice for them?
My go-to statement is do it afraid.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Good.
Because Nike had to just do it, but until you can see it, do it afraid. And I'm speaking from, because I'm going to try my best, I'm speaking from a place of, my PTSD has kept me in a position where I could not get out of my head. Had it not been for Michelle calling, like, you good? I don't see you doing nothing. What's going on with you? If it wasn't, if it wasn't,
I've already done it once, twice today.
but it's the truth. It is the truth. People have sat and looked over me. Yes. Okay? Because I didn't know my own voice. And what I tell anyone, like I did a graduation for a family yesterday because no one else wanted to do it. Okay? Now here's the kicker. It was an Indian family. If you know anything about me, that's my go-to, because turmeric, because ginger, these spices heal our bodies. What we teach, or what we've been taught here, is that we put sugar in everything, right? But it's the bitters that we need in order for our organs to function at their proper optimal level. Because this human body that we have is one organ that filters off of the next one. And if we don't clean our filters out, it's just like a car that doesn't get serviced. And that's where the disease come in. That's where all of it happens. And the biggest thing, and the scripture that I had to hold on to, was Romans 12:2. Be ye not conformed of women, be ye not conformed, oh God, of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's in your mind that you defeat yourself. Yes. It's in your mind that you will get locked down. And what Big Pharma will do will give you a pill to keep you locked in that one spot. But what the earth has done is unleashed a healing through its herbs that will take you from that one spot and transport you to where you need to be so that you can now be an effective change for other people. What I told those kids yesterday was, do not die a copy. It took 2 parents to bring us here. We are all individuals. Do not leave this earth trying to be something that you're not.
All right,
That's it.
Yes, that is true. Carl Knobloch, something that the listeners, viewers could watch about SBA that can help the folks who are out there.
Well, the one thing I want to point out is, as you're talking about the young people and tourism, the food industry, restaurants and all that, when you're working with the young people, everybody always looked at it as a job low end. But if you heard everybody talking, and this is what I've always stressed, it's a science. And nobody talks about it as a science. They talk about it as it's a food, it's a byproduct, it's this. We're never talking about the science and how, if you do the science right, you get magnificent results. You do the science wrong, you get explosion. That's basically what it is.
Okay, well, yeah, okay.
So
That's one way of looking at it.
Yeah, so the thing is, that's where we have to change on how we communicate. Instead of downplaying it, playing how the value is really there. And not for a place to eat. It's actually, I'm giving you something in return from what you're learning from it. And so that's the thing I preach to the young people when they talk about, I need to go to math science. I said, go in the food industry. And they look at me like, what? And as you talk about buy local is basically understanding the products and the soils and everything else, that's why you're buying what you buy. And so, once again, that comes to all that. Digressing over to SBA now, in the scope of things, you know, the one thing that we look at in the dealing with the different industries and through this pandemic and everything is, and it's been brought up, is you finally had to reveal yourself, each sector. And now you can actually work together. Where before you were trying to protect yourself, like, you're not going to take this. Guess what? Let them take it. It's the greatest compliment in the world that they took your product. Guess what? They don't make it as good because they don't have the special dust. So why are we sitting here being worried about that? If you would work together, there's more power and strength and more impact, more dollars, because guess what? The people, especially American people, love to go out and eat rather than sit at home and cook. So take advantage of it with all your strength together as a group versus trying to focus as individuals.
All righty, thanks. Paul, wrap us up there, man.
Yeah, so one comment on Virginia State University as well. We're actually working on a project for Hotel Petersburg. We've been working on it for 3 years. I've met with Dr. Perkita Bradford, with Mayor Sam Parnham many, many times. We're that close to closing on the loan, and so we're really looking forward to employing a lot of folks from Petersburg at our hotel and restaurant. So, and working with Virginia State. We have an MOU that's floating right now about aligning my company, Retro Hospitality, with Virginia State. So we're making a lot of investments in throughout the Commonwealth. I'll just say this, I mean, with our company, it's always been about looking for the next leaders that have two main traits. It's humbleness and hardworking. And so, you know, with that, taking my own personal story, I was a bellman. I had to work to go to college, to afford to go to college. My parents could not afford to send me to college, so I worked as a bellman. I worked 40 hours a week while I took 18 credit hours for 4.5 years, put myself through school, and learned the hospitality business from the ground up. And that's what we're preaching to the next level of leadership, is that if you stay humble and you stay hardworking, you're willing to learn, we can teach you. And the great thing about this industry, and the comment was made earlier about, you know, hiring from within and going from dishwasher, you know, to busser to executive chef, is that the trajectory in this industry, especially now with everyone leaving it, that the path is there. We can teach the youth that there is a real opportunity if they would like to learn and work hard in this industry, that their path to success is clear, and we can help them get there. And that's what we look for.
All righty, how can people find, I'll go down the list line right here and let people know how they can find your contact info.
So retrohospitality.com is our website. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit as well. You can find us there, and send a message to me, P. Cooper at retrohospitality.com. Be happy to share any information and thoughts that we have, and any way we can help you out.
Carl.
Simple, SBA.gov.
Man, you say that every time. Okay, it's SBA.gov. That's it.
I need what you got there.
Right, he said, you ain't calling my phone, you better call SBA.
Chef Ty.
Okay, so for me, I am Chef Ty on all platforms. It's TYE because I am a girl, so you make it feminine. For my business, it's Hooks Lunchbox on all platforms. So IG, Facebook, Chef Ty Hall has her own fan page now, and that's where you go.
Okay.
Chef Ty Hall, TYEHALL. And IG, it's either Chef Ty Hall, all one word, or Hooks Lunchbox.
Cool. Tamara.
You can reach me at tharris@visitrichmondva.com. We have all social media platforms. Visit richmondva.com. Find your moment. Hashtag us if you're out taking pictures at restaurants, doing your thing in your restaurant. We want to see it. But that's how you can find me.
Yeah, Dan.
So my name is Dan Schroeder, which is unspellable. It's Dan at filamentbusinessadvisors.com. The website is filamentbusinessadvisors.com. Bios there, links are all there. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or just want to talk.
Chef Robin.
Carolina Girl Catering across all social medias. Also Robin at carolinagirlcatering.com.
We got to give a shout out to the Fayetteville girls, too.
Yeah, Gina'sLove.com.
Yeah, Fayetteville, North Carolina in the house there. Okay, there we go.
Okay, we are Brunswick, BRUNSWICKAGNCULTURE. Across pretty much all social medias, Linktree will give you every link that we have if you want to find us. Phone numbers, email, all there. We appreciate your support. Thanks.
Alfreda.
And that's areynolds@brunswickco.com, or either you can look at Brunswick County, Virginia at brunswickco.com and look up economic development to learn about the great things that we have happening in Brunswick.
Emmy.
So hospitality.com, and then also growwiththefam.com. We are hiring. We are still about 200 employees short. So if you know of anybody, we pay very, very well. And we are a great company to work for. So growwiththefam.com.
All right, come on, Chef. All right, here we are. All right, so we'd like to thank everyone for coming in. Come on, Chef. There you go. We'd like to thank you guys for coming out and being a part of what we're doing here. Chef, thank you for having us in your conference center. And let folks know about, let them know about Mama Michelle's Cafe and wrap us up, please.
Okay, so you can find me on IG, Facebook at Mama Michelle's and Mama Michelle's Cafe on Facebook. You can email me at mamamichelle'scafe@gmail.com. You can stop by and eat or come get a job.
Well, you know what, 1 second, when Emmy, you said 200, she said, whoa. She said, whoa, Lord. All righty, everybody's hiring. Okay, we're running out of tape. On the mic with Mike, ESPN Richmond, 106.1. We got to go. You can catch us 5 to 7 a.m. That's where we are. Thank you. Take care. All right.